Hi, I'm Jamison with EWA.
Matt Blocky with EWA.
In this video, we're going to talk about a principle that we follow at EWA that helps us prioritize tasks and time management. Matt's going to walk us through some specific examples here in a second. But with finances, there's a lot of high stakes as we're dealing with people's money. So we want to make sure that we're staying focused and getting the right tasks prioritized and done as soon as possible. So Matt, what specifically do we mean by this principle?
Yeah, so we read this in a Stephen Covey book, but rocks first, pebbles second, sand third. So if you imagine you have a jar and that jar represents all the time you have during your workday, the sand could represent replying to text or calls or emails. Maybe they take 1 or 2 minutes. If you spend your time doing those, before you know it, the day will have passed and you'll feel like nothing's been done. So if the sand goes in, there's not going to be any room for rocks or pebbles. But if you look at the rocks as the big, daunting, hardest tasks that maybe take a half hour to 60 minutes to complete, if you put those in first, then do the pebbles, which may be your 10 or 15 minute tasks, phone calls, etc. Put those in, those will still find room in the jar. And then the sand at the end, all those little tasks, which should be time blocked, for example, checking your email twice per day, maybe once in the morning, once in the evening, the sand will then find a way to get room and to fill up the jar. But so otherwise, what could be a disastrous day productivity-wise can turn into a very efficient day if we stick to rocks first, pebbles second, sand third. Then take that a step further. A coach we work with at the Carson Group has coached us into saying those rocks are so important that you should really boil that down to 6 vital. So what are the 6 most vital tasks that you have to accomplish this day? And you don't do anything before accomplishing those 6 tasks. So those are the rocks. And then a step further of that is out of the 6, choosing the one most vital on a daily basis. And this has been extremely impactful to EWA, following these systems to make sure our productivity is in line with what our clients' needs are.
Well, that's a great example of the micro day-to-day tasks. Can you talk a little bit about longer-term goals?
Yeah, so the rocks actually is a concept that we use a book called Traction. It's called the EOS Model, but basically it boils down to 10-year, 3-year, 1-year vision, and then that breaks down into quarterly goals, and each team member has typically 3 rocks per quarter. And those rocks are typically big tasks that are going to take a lot of planning outside of the day-to-day to make sure those are accomplished. So those get reviewed in our weekly meeting. And those obviously are priorities of how we come up with the vital 6 on a daily basis, is to make sure that those rocks are hit every quarter, which ultimately leads to the 1, 3, and 10-year picture.
Well, thanks, man. I think this has been really helpful, especially with just managing time and prioritizing day-to-day activities. So stay tuned for our next video.